Hey yo, good evening, welcome guys. This evening is going to be an awesome session because this particular question is tapping on my most powerful area of strength. It's an aspect of business that I believe I have conquered massively, you know, by experience. The question here is saying I have a powerful business idea, but I need funds to start. What can I do? And this happens to be the major issue with a lot of people who say they have ideas. So today we're going to be looking at it deeply. I would say I've so much mastered this topic to the extent I have written 3 books that would help guide you through the process from the very conceptualization of the idea down to the process of taking the idea to the market and to the overall process of sourcing for funding for this idea. So the thoughts I'm going to be sharing this evening are going to be tapping from these 3 books. They're just going to be basic questions that when you sit down with your biro and paper to answer these questions, you will see that the money you're looking for is going to gravitate towards you. You know, I'm one that makes that comment that there are more money seeking for viable business ideas to support than there are ready-made viable business ideas seeking for this money. So today we're going to be looking at the nitty-gritty of all of this. If you are joining us live, feel free to make a comment. Feel free to challenge some of the concepts we're sharing. We like it when people challenge it. It gives us the opportunity to speak deeper, to address the issue more deeper. Because the idea behind what I'm doing is not to deepen my conviction. The idea behind what I'm doing is to help take off the myths that stands between you and the funding that you need for your business. So before we go ahead, I always talk about some books that could help you. These are the books I'll be gleaning a lot from these books today, but I feel it's necessary for you guys to see the book. These are 2 books that I will say you can go ahead to get. If you are still in that stage where you're trying to jostle between how viable is this idea, or you already have validated the idea, you're beginning to think about how can I take this idea to the market and get there big time. You don't want to get to the market and struggle over the years before you find out what is not working. If there's a book that costs less than 2,000 naira, less than $10, I think this book is about $8, in dollars, and it's about £5 and less than 2,000 naira in Nigerian currency. If you can invest such an amount and save yourself 2 years, 3 years, I think that's a worthy investment. Some of the things on this book will help you get closer to accessing the funds that you need. Then I have the third one that I'm going to talk about later as we go deeper in message that details all of the strategies to accessing funding. If there is anything I can tap my chest to say I have conquered as far as the spectrum of business and startup engagement is all about is accessing funding for your business. If you look at the description, I shared the fact that I was once here where you are now when you said I needed money. But today, down the line, my thought has totally changed. I believe strongly that there are more money seeking for business opportunities to jump at than there are viable businesses seeking for such money. So this question comes to me almost regularly. And my graphic designer did a very good job by putting together someone there who has an idea and is taking his time to put it on paper and working on it on his laptop and is having fun stretched to him. That is how it is. If you do some of the things we're going to be sharing with you tonight, The fund you're looking for will come after you. The fund you are looking for will come after you. I authored this book that I called Funding Your Business Idea. Funding Your Business Idea. It's accessible on the link you can see there. That link is simply www.seller.co.fundingyourbusinessidea. seller.co.co/FYBI. You can go there and take this. I'm going to say a few things about the book as we go ahead. You know, especially some of the questions I raised because of these conversations. This book have answered them. This and the other two books I talked about are provided answers to them. You know, thank you for joining us today. If you're coming in late, there are content we have shared even before you came. I would recommend you go back and watch them. This is a video you want to keep and keep watching over and over. It's going to turn around the way you think about funding for your business. It's going to turn around the way you think about funding for your business. This is a business. This is the question we're dealing with today, showing on your screen. You know, then you have to consider coming closer. I must tell you the fact, as beautiful and powerful as what you're getting from these channels are, there are much more within that you can enjoy. Imagine where this is coming from when it is concentrated on you and your idea. When it gets concentrated on you and your idea, it becomes an opportunity for us to take a look at your own business idea. That's what we do at the Treskaro tribe. So follow the link as you can see there and join this group of people that are already making tremendous impact in their life. This is just February. This is just February. Some members of this tribe are already doing phenomenal projects. The testimonies are coming. We sat down together to craft our goals in December. By January, we had our review meeting. This is February. And the target we have for ourselves is that every member of this group will earn a minimum of ₦1 million every month. You know, an average of 12 million naira to 24 million naira in the year 2021, irrespective of what the economic indices are saying, because we know this is possible. It is possible. It's been done before and it can be done over and over. It's just simply called the principle of modeling. You know, thank you, Kenneth, for your nice words. You know, so do everything to be a part of this. Do everything to be a part of this. If you want to challenge some of the concepts we're talking about, feel free, go ahead. We'll put it up here and we'll take it deeper, get it clearer. You know, so right now I want to talk about what this person is saying. I have a very powerful idea. My question is, says who? Who says the idea is powerful? I'm not going to tell you anything this evening. I'm just going to ask you questions because I'm into coaching. I coach a lot of people to succeed in their businesses. And what coaches do is not necessarily to teach you what you already know. As a coach, I just ask you questions. I ask you questions that help you think about a particular idea from a perspective that you've never thought about. You know, this evening I'm going to be doing that as it relates to sourcing funding for your business. So my first question is, who says the idea is powerful? Because the way it works when it comes to funding, anybody that says the idea is powerful will fund it. As simple as that, that's a phenomenal truth. Anybody that says the idea is powerful will fund it. I have a young man who worked with me for some time, and he has his idea crafted on paper, and he so much internalized it that when he speaks to you about the idea, you just want to cover money to fund it. And another phenomenal great guy was talking to me, and he said, when this guy began to talk to me about this idea, I started to look behind, hope nobody else is hearing. I heard his hand and took him to a corner, and I was ready to release any amount that he needed. This guy had to select from people wanting to be a part of his idea because he thinks the idea is powerful and he has internalized it so well that when he communicates it, you can feel the energy, you can feel the vibration. And when you're able to feel that energy and that vibration, the communication tell you one truth. The investors you are running after actually have the money. They are looking for people like you to fund. If they can see and say that your idea is powerful, they will even give you the money before going through the process. So it matters who is saying that the idea is powerful. If it is just you that is saying that the idea is powerful, it means the only person qualified to fund this idea is you. That's how it works. That's how it works. If you can get me to see that this idea is powerful, I'm either going to fund with you or I'm going to share expertise with you to take the idea further. And through this, there are many ideas that can be started without real physical fund, physical cash. You just, because truth is the money you're looking for is actually going to be expended on some things, especially at the startup level. So there are people with those expertise that can come together once they can validate that your idea is powerful. And the only force that validates an idea is the next point we're talking about. What are the customers saying about the idea? Then you're going to say, I said I have an idea. You're talking about customer. Oh, it's not a viable idea until it is being engaged by either the actual customers or the would-be customers. People, gone are the days when people want to just run around ideas and expecting to go do try and error with other people's money. No, it doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work anymore. Funders, people who have the money to support businesses, want some level of validation right now before they put in their money. I have one of my business idea attracted about $6,000 towards the end of last year. And the judges that looked at it said part of what we liked about the idea is not about the fact that it is awesome, it's about the fact that customers are already engaging with you. So you must find a way to get what the customers are saying about the idea. That is very important because even those that will fund your ideas that don't need profit from it, they actually need a different kind of profits. They may not need financial profit from it, but they need you to succeed so you can become one of their success stories. That's their profits. They want you to succeed so you can become one of their success stories. So they don't want to use their money to do try and error. They want to see that from the same place you get money to buy the clothes you're wearing, from the same place you get money to feed, from the same place you got the money to buy the phone from where you're watching us on YouTube now. They want you to sacrifice from those same place and put this idea in the hands of customers for them to test and validate it. It's called a prototype. It doesn't have to be the entire full version, but it just have to be something that brings out the idea and gets the customers to interact with it. If you have that going, you're closer to funding than you think. So another question is what makes the idea powerful compared to others in the industry? There must be something that differentiates this idea from the existing one. And if nothing in particular differentiates the idea, it's still not a big deal. It's still not a big deal, especially if the idea is functioning in a marketplace with a large size. That's why we ask the question also, what's the size of the market of this idea? If you have an idea in a market that is so large, but very little satisfaction is going on there because the demand is like 1,000,000% and the demand is 100%, but the supply is barely 200%. So if you're coming into such an industry, because the size of the industry is large enough, you can still come with practically exactly the same thing that the competitors have there and focus on a totally different niche that you have researched and found out that is unserved, then you can still make all the money. So what is the size of the market? What are some of the questions I'm asking you now are the questions that these books would have asked you. Sorry, what's happening here? Are some of the questions that these books would have asked you. Sorry, technical issues. Okay, these are some of the questions that these books are asking. Because how to choose a profitable business idea, the people coming to invest into your business want to be certain that your business idea is profitable. If they are not seeking for your return of the money, they want to support you with a grant, they still want to be very sure that you will be successful and profitable. So these are the questions that this book is helping to answer. If you don't have them, please follow the link as you can see inscribed on the document, as you can see inscribed on the slide, and place order. You can have it just as you're watching. You can have them just as you're watching. They are that cheap that some persons are asking, sir, why did you make it this cheap? I said, yes, there are some that we do. We could have even given out for free, but we just want to be sure we're putting it in the hands of people who will take action. That's why we want to be sure that at least something leaves you to ensure that you really have value for what we're giving you. That's why you can have this book, as powerful as it is, that will save you years of wasted energy and time, but it's going for less than 2,000 naira. It's practically 1,500 naira if you're watching from Nigeria, and it's about £5 and $8 if you're watching from the UK or any part of Europe. That is how it works. Then the big one is the one I call funding your business ideas. Funding your business idea. There is a particular question I'm going to ask you, and I will bring you back to this book to talk about it. So I talked about what's the size of the idea. Then another question you just need to answer: what qualifies you to be the one powering this idea? What qualifies you? Because the people that want to put in funding into your business want to be sure that this business has the right caliber of people to push it. Because truth is, no business will succeed without the right personalities driving it. No business will succeed without the right kind of people driving it. There's a word that says teamwork makes the dream work. That's why you can have the same ideas in the hands of two different teams, will fail in the hand of one and succeed in the hand of the other. The investors, the funders want to be certain that they are giving the money to the right people, not just the right idea. Not just the right idea. So when you say I have a powerful idea, I need funding. Those that will fund want to be sure that your capacity, your expertise, your knowledge base synchronizes with the idea you are pushing for. So when young people sit down with me and talk to me about their idea, the very first question I want to ask them is, what's your expertise? What's your expertise? Because if you have an idea that requires a tech person to drive it almost from the beginning, and you are not a tech person, maybe you are a business developer like I am, you're going to practically need funding from the beginning, or you're going to be able to sacrifice part of the stake in the idea to bring in this other person who has the expertise. So when we're not talking about the expertise required to push this idea, we're talking about your team. This is a business developer who understands the market and the business side of it. This is a tech person who's going to build the technology we need to drive the business. This is what the funders and the investors want to see. They want to be sure that the personalities behind the idea have what it takes to drive it. Then there are some questions that this particular book on your screen helps us to answer. Questions like, have you owned the idea? Why do you call it yours? You know, people will say, I have an idea. How is it yours, sir? How is it yours? The primary way to own an idea is to execute it. The first proof of the ownership of an idea is to execute it. You know, then the second is to register it with a necessary government agency. Today, there are so much funds available, even in our local environment here. There are so much support coming in form of cash. Others are coming in support for your staff. Others are coming in diverse forms of training. And the number one thing they require nowadays is that your business must be registered, either with the Corporate Affairs Commission, if you're watching from Nigeria, with other government agencies. So when you're talking about owning the idea, you may and must have taken some steps to be the owner of the idea. Otherwise, you are not yet the owner of the idea. Because truth is, ideas come from God. This book also details the places the ideas come from. This and the others that we've talked about talks about where ideas come from. Yeah. Then the other question you just want to answer is this idea professionally documented? I've seen a lot of businesses. Like I said in my description of this engagement, I talked about the fact that I have powered 3 different businesses from the scratch with free funding. And I have helped and worked with close to or more than 100 persons to do the same. So it's no longer something I'm trying to see if it will work. I know how it works, and it always works. One of the questions you must answer is this idea professionally documented? When we're talking about professional documentation, we're talking about things like a business plan. We're talking about the concept notes that really takes the concept from your head to a document, a note that you can give to somebody, or a note that you would have internalized that you can pitch within 30 seconds or 1 minute and grasp the necessary attention, that then gives you the opportunity to send in your pitch deck. Your pitch deck takes your pitch to a detail that this person can sit down with. Then if these people are really, really now interested, they ask for your business plan. Do you have all of this already done? These do not necessarily require money, except you have it and you want to pay people like us to do it for you. If you don't have the money, it means either you are really not that busy, because if you're busy, you're going to have the money. If you are really not that busy, it means you have the time. Then you can take your time, research, and professionally develop these documents. So is this idea professionally documented? If it is, you are just a step closer to accessing funding. Is the idea in question legalized already? I talk about registering with the necessary government agencies. If it is not legalized, some of them are very powerful innovations. They have to be trademarked. They have to be patented. These are the things that tells the investor that this guy is not just playing with this idea. This guy has taken some steps to put flesh to this idea. This guy has invested his time, energy, and resources. When we come on board, we are going to just help to accelerate his success. If there's a video series I recommend for you, it's Shark Tank. Go on YouTube and check for Shark Tank. If you have Netflix, you'll see new series coming out on a regular basis. Go watch Shark Tank. This is a program that listens to people come to pitch their ideas. You're going to hear what investors are asking. You're going to see what is this that really interests investors. Then finally, which is one big thing that this book deals with, do you know where to source for funds? The book on your screen has over 100 links to places where you can get grants and other supports. And this book has a soft copy that is just 4,000 naira. With access to grants in over 100 links. So if funding is something that you really, really need, I will know. I will know, you know. And if you have done this, you will come to terms with me when I say things like this, that there are more money available to fund ideas than viable ideas ready for funding. And this is not just a cliche, this is my experience. And it is very evident in the way that Nigerian businesses are getting funding, in millions, in hundreds of millions of dollars. So if you follow these steps, if you order these books, in fact, when we worked on the copy to advertise these books, we wrote something that if you follow the steps in this book and you don't get funding, God Himself will have to credit your account. And I trust that God will do that for you, because the steps in itself were God breathed. And I believe that when you follow these steps, you will have the funding that you need, and you will join our success story and become one of those who is helping us to spread the good news that there is fund readily available. You just have to be ready for it, and the funders are actually looking for you. That's one thing. That's a mental shift that we must have. Those who have this money are actually looking for people with viable ideas that they can place their money in. I used to tell people investors are not necessarily looking for you to help. They want to help themselves by putting their money in your business and hoping that they'll be able to reap a return. The ones that are not giving you the money for profits, they are hoping that they'll be able to win you by seeing that you succeed, and they can share your story as their success story. It's a passion that God has dropped in their hearts, where they just want to be successful also by investing in people that prove to them that they can succeed. And if you follow the steps that we have shared, you would have proven to them that you are liable to success. And by that, they will give you the funding that you need. Shift from that mentality that money is scarce. Money is not scarce. Money is not scarce. Come into the Treskaro tribe and gain access to the blueprints that we did in December. You're going to see the mental shift that's required to happen within you. Then you begin to attract the funding that you need. Do have a lovely night rest. I believe we've done justice to this topic. If you're not watching live, please feel free to come back and watch this. And this is not a video that you need to watch once. It's something that you need to watch over and over and over until you answer the questions that we raised and be able to access the funding that you need. I want to call it a night here, and I hope I'll have you again tomorrow, because somebody has dropped. There are a lot of questions that have come, but we're going to be answering another very interesting one tomorrow by the same time, 9:30 in the evening. And we trust that it's going to be an awesome experience, just as this one is. Thank you, and do have a lovely night rest. Have a great night. Bye bye. I remain Osai Treskaro.